What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to be talking about Tesla's share price right now because we are pretty much down for the day, but for the future, we are seeing something very interesting as well based on what the overall market is doing and also some big news coming out. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market, what the data is showing for Tesla, and also some breaking news that just came out in China that's super important and it leads me to have two major warnings for all Tesla investors. I'm also going to break down something very big involving Tesla and Canada that could be some potential for a Tesla Gigafactory in Canada as well, and also some big tweets from Tesla itself with new features coming out involving dogs. Now, before I break anything down about Tesla, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use the cash to buy some Tesla shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 2 weeks. Please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So Tesla is down 2.51% for the day, a little bit red in the after hours as well. And my prediction was very close as to what ended up happening. I predicted that into open, Tesla would get a big push around that 280 range. And I thought we'd get rejected off 280, then start to bleed off as the day went on. And I thought Tesla would come down to 270, bounce, and then close around 275 or a little bit lower than that. What ended up happening is we actually ended up dropping to 270. We came and touched 269 for just a little bit of time. We ended up actually closing at 270, so a little bit lower than I thought, but very similar price action to what I had anticipated. And the reason I felt that way is because of what was going on in the options chain. So if we're looking at SPY right now, the SPY is taking a bit of a hit right now. Pretty crazy day altogether. If you look at the overall price action, you could see SPY was dropping really hard over the last few weeks. We saw this thing just tumble down. And what happened was I think it was like just yesterday, this thing touched 390. We got a big bounce off that because we have very strong support at 390 for SPY. We bounced off that. We got rejected off around that 401.5 range. And then after that, we came crashing down after that. And SPY actually ended up touching 390 again, closing very close to that at 392.24. So overall, SPY is down 1.05%. And you guys can see how similar this price action is to that of Tesla. Very similar price action. So what's going on with SPY, and this is the reason why I was actually kind of bearish for today, yesterday. And the reason I felt that way is because I was looking at the options chain. And if you guys looked at it, you could see there's an overwhelming amount of institutions buying puts relative to calls, but that doesn't necessarily hold for next week. We'll have to see how that really goes. But from my current perspective, SPY keeps on touching 390. It keeps kind of like bouncing off of that since we have strong support right there. But if we break below that, and it seems very possible like we will, it's not going to be good. This thing is going to come down to the 385 range and even 380 if we can't hold 390. Now, right now, the market is pretty fearful. All right. There's some panic kind of setting in right now. People are worried about this being the big crash or not. And that's the reason why downside does seem a little bit more imminent for the future. If you look at SPY on the 2 hour time frame, you can see we were coming down and down and down. We got a bit of a push up today, followed by a big rejection of 401.5. So that's the reason why the chart still looks like this. On the daily, though, it doesn't really account for that big push to the upside as well. And you can see the trend is still bearish overall. RSI is still coming down. And because SPY is looking this way, the overall market is looking this way. Even if you look at NASDAQ, very similar setup as well. You can see NASDAQ is also coming down. Very open MACD. RSI still pushing down. Not completely oversold just yet. It looks like we have more room for downside. And because the market's doing that, Tesla as well is most likely going to see a very similar trend, in my honest opinion. And I do think downside is still imminent for Tesla. If you look at that MACD and RSI on the daily, and if we actually compare Tesla with SPY, just real quick in terms of its data, we could see right here. Look how similar they are moving. Both of them are kind of dumping at the same time. And Tesla has a higher price pair ratio relative to before. Now, overall, Tesla does have a positive beta. So when the SPY tends to come down, tends to come down a little bit harder. But since the split happened, it's just not as volatile as before. So that's honestly kind of like a good thing and also kind of a bad thing because it's not as fun to trade as before. But the good thing is we are seeing Tesla being a lot more stable than before. So it has its ups and downs. And right now we're seeing a lot of big analysts like Deutsche Bank and Morgan Stanley saying that we're seeing some really, really good buy ratings right here, Jeffries too. And we could see a lot of volume was actually happening in these ranges right over here, which is why we're getting this crazy action. So Tesla does not tend to spend a lot of time in that 270 range, but we do have higher volume around that 269. So I do see that as a potential zone to see Tesla in. And I do think going into next week, it is possible for Tesla to end up in the 260s if we can't hold 270. And so far today, we did see some signs of that happening. It also depends on SPY because if SPY keeps going down, it's going to drag Tesla down with it in a way. And when I'm saying this, I'm not just talking about SPY itself, but the overall market and SPY moving together, pushing down the whole market, including Tesla. Now, with that said, we want to see SPY try to hold 390 going into next week. If we can't hold that, if you see SPY break below 390, Tesla is most likely going to come down to the 260s. So be on the lookout for that. That's one of my important warnings for you guys. And it seems more likely that that will happen based off the current trend. But I do have another very important warning for everyone right now because the news has reported something huge. Another huge city in China known as Shenzhen, it actually shuts down its public transportation system, and they are having more lockdowns over there as the virus is breaking out as well. Now, I'm not going to get political with this, but this is basically the policies of the government over there. So that's why you need to be prepared for this. Because if you look at a map, okay, this is China right here. And remember, China is the largest EV market in the world, and Tesla depends heavily on China for production, for deliveries, for their earnings, their profitability, and things like that, believe it or not. So if you look at right here, in this province right here, we were getting lots of outbreaks right here. We saw lots of lockdowns right here. We saw more kind of south of Beijing as well just a couple of days ago. Then, just yesterday, it was reported that Chengdu, the city right here, we had a huge outbreak over there and huge lockdowns. Like 21.5 million people were on lockdown right here. And now, just recently, Shenzhen, which is right here where my cursor is, I know it's a little hard to see, right here, we're seeing big lockdowns now coming right over here. The transportation system is shut down over there, the public transport, I mean, and it's very close to Hong Kong as well. So, very interesting stuff. Now, the reason why I see this as a warning is because when we see the cities like around this zone now seeing more outbreaks, Shanghai is right here where my cursor is. So, Shanghai is right here, right? And the big lockdowns are now happening in this zone right here. So, it's getting closer and it's happening all around where Shanghai is. Now, so far, we haven't seen the lockdowns in Shanghai yet, but I am a little bit concerned about this because we are getting closer to the winter. Winter's getting closer. It's just a few months away. And during that time frame, if there are more lockdowns in Shanghai, what's going to happen is this could affect deliveries for Tesla. It could affect their numbers big time, not just for Tesla, but EVs as a whole. So it's going to be very important that we are prepared for this in case something like this were to happen. As of right now, it hasn't happened yet, but please, please, please remember this, be prepared for it in case something like this happens, because this could have a very negative effect on Tesla's business if something like that were to happen. Now, once again, it's not Tesla's fault, right? It's not their fault that the virus spreads. Just something we all need to be prepared for. Another big thing, though, because I went over some bad news, some potential bad news as well, but I do have great news as well. Tesla has visited a graphite mine and factory in Quebec, in Canada, and many people are seeing this as a very, very good sign because right here, we're seeing graphite manufacturers and miners, they're actually taking this product, and this is often used for the battery cells for Tesla, and that's very important for them. It's a critical material. So there's been a lot of talk that what if Tesla builds a gigafactory right over there? It could actually save on many expenditures because in that case, the commodities would be a lot closer to them in their gigafactory, and this would save on some expenses when it comes to actually having to transport them. And with that said, there's also a big market in Canada as well, which could actually be shipped to the US if that were to happen. I can't really go into full detail about crossing the border and other expenditures because of that, but that still could be very big for them because we need more gigafactories for Tesla to keep on increasing their deliveries and meet their goals. So it does seem like in the future, it's a little bit more likely for them to actually build a factory in Canada. Is it confirmed? Not necessarily, but it seems very possible. And considering the amount of graphite over there, the mines over there, the resources, that would be a very, very nice spot, in my honest opinion, and could actually save on many expenses going forward. So that's a very good piece of news, in my opinion. I do think that they may announce another gigafactory opening either sometime during this year or early next year, in my honest opinion, and they're going to need more of them to really keep up with those goals and to continue the growth that we are seeing. Now, a big piece of news or something really cool I wanted to talk about is this right here. Teslas have a new feature where they're actually able to let uh, owners leave their cars and leave their pets inside of the car while the AC stays on. It's going to be a new system. And the reason why that's very cool is they also have the user interface right here, and they have this little screen. The video doesn't really show the screen in full detail, but basically it says my driver will be back soon, and it shows the temperature on the inside. So it basically lets people know that on those hot days when people can't take their dogs into the store or somewhere else, they're able to leave them inside of their Teslas, and the AC is going to stay on, give a nice temperature for them. It really adds to convenience for customers, and I think this is absolutely incredible because what's happening is you're building this relationship with customers. You're really helping them look at the product, look at everyday problems, and solve those problems. That's very good customer service, in my opinion. I know that Tesla does, it's not perfect when it comes to the backlog of orders and things like that, but they are doing what they can. And these small features like this are what really make them different from their competition. So, with that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. I know the market is going to most likely be pretty choppy, kind of unpredictable, and that will affect Tesla, in my opinion, for next week, for the next couple of weeks going into the FOMC meeting. So expect lots of choppy price action. I think downside is a little bit more likely than upside for next week. And on top of that, remember the situation in China, because this could catch a lot of people off guard if something were to end up happening in Shanghai, affecting the Gigafactory, their numbers, deliveries, their profitability, and things like that. So, with that said, thank you all so much for listening. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I will most definitely see you guys in the next video. Tesla to the moon because the long term future is bright. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and peace out.